From Santa Fe, New Mexico, Victoria Price.
Mic'd off of this, so I am just so grateful to all of you for turning out for my dad's birthday. This is an absolutely extraordinary thing. First of all, I want to tell you, my dad loved to celebrate his birthday. Loved to celebrate his birthday. He was a man who loved to party. Any excuse to party, he was there. 50 years ago today, he was in Rome making a movie. Some of the big fans will be able to pinpoint exactly which movie. I don't remember what it was. And he had invited all of his closest friends to Rome, and my brother, and they were all there celebrating his birthday. And I don't think he could have imagined that for his 100th, the entire city of St. Louis would celebrate him like this. It's really extraordinary. He was obviously a very talented actor. He was passionate about the visual arts and gave back to them in myriad ways that I will elaborate on later. He was very important to the culinary, burgeoning culinary field in America, which I will go into as well. But for me, he was my dad. And I really lucked out in the dad department. He was, still to this day, and I'm almost 50, the single most interesting person I've ever met in my life. And I've met some extraordinary people. I could give you a long list of pretty impressive names. My dad was the most interesting person. He was the most fun. He was the most curious. He was the kindest person. He was the most generous person. Now, was he perfect as a father? No. You know, he was a workaholic. He traveled all the time. In fact, when I was a kid, we dropped him off so often at the airport that I thought he worked there. But he was a man so full of love and so full of life. And growing up, watching him interact with people and interact with the world was such a gift and such a blessing. And what I found, and I'm sure all of you who have lost people as well know this, is that the longer people are gone, it's not what they did, but how they lived their life that you remember. It's the qualities of that life. And that's why I decided to use this year to give this talk, because I want to remind all of us, myself included, what we have to give back. That if we can approach life with even a tenth of the joy and curiosity and interest and kindness with which my father approached life, then we will all be making the world a better place. All of the things you hear about my dad, they were true. He was funny, he was kind, he was good, and that's really why I want to share this.
Oh, I think he would have just loved the idea of the bicentennial. You know, he was very proud of being a St. Louis person, and you know, he really was sort of a Southern gentleman in his own way. He always used to sort of bridle a little bit of being, you know, accused of being an Englishman because of his, you know, because of his wonderfully eloquent diction and, you know, voice. And he always insisted he came from St. Louis and that he was a, you know, Midwestern lad. So I think he would just be completely delighted. And I'm delighted too. I mean, you know, what a great name, you know, the Bicentennial.
Oh, Peter Pan, it's a kid's play, right? And my dad is playing Captain Hook. Everything should be fine, except apparently I have a fit. Because my dad comes out and he has a hook. And I don't understand why my father, my beloved father, A, has a hook, and B, is so horrible and mean. And I wouldn't shut up, and so they had to take me backstage during intermission. And here is the traumatic proof of why I don't like horror movies. That is one unhappy child. He's trying everything he can. He's giving me popcorn. He's trying to comfort me. It's not working. Oh, it's getting a little better. I'm having some popcorn. He's kissing my finger with a little hopeful smile out of me. And finally, I'm playing with the hook. But from then on, my parents never let me see another horror movie. And except for things on TV where he made fun of himself, I really never saw one until I was about 16 years old.
He was the consummate professional. But by that, I mean he was genuinely concerned with how other people felt, with how well they could do their job. He didn't want anything in his own performance to impinge upon their professionalism and their excellence. He also was so well loved by fans, not just because he was Vincent Price, but because he was the man he was.
He took the idea of being the public servant that Helen Hayes had given him, and he gave back. And that's part of why I'm standing up here tonight, because I really feel that that's a message that all of us need to hear. You know, we are all in a position to be able to give back. And if any of us could just give a little bit of what my father gave, that genuine concern, that kindness. And as you heard my brother say, he really did it. And so I am incredibly grateful that somebody who was a fan of my father's was able to give my dad the really greatest final gift of his career. My dad was doing a show at Disney called Read, Write, and Draw. And it was a great show. He taught kids about art, really. And they got to illustrate stories. And while he was at Disney, he obviously made many friends. And somebody said, there's this young animator that you need to meet. He's a little bit quirky, but he's a huge fan, and you have to meet him. And so my dad was taken to meet this guy with kind of wild black hair, and he had written this little short movie called Vincent, about a boy named Vincent Malloy who wants to grow up to be Vincent Price. And my dad, and I'm sure this stunned Tim, who didn't, you know, had grown up idolizing my dad, but Tim didn't know this. My dad, of course, agreed to narrate it. And the poem is wonderful. It's a very Poe-like poem. And so my dad narrated this movie. And it was so incredibly exciting and moving to Tim that this happened. And then Tim did something for which I will always be grateful for him, because along with Michael Jackson, it's Tim Burton who introduced my dad to the next generation. He wrote the part in Edward Scissorhands for him. My dad was very ill at this time, and it was interesting. Nobody could quite figure out what was going on. It was his thyroid, it was cancer, it was emphysema, and finally they figured out he had Parkinson's. And I don't know why it took so long. And so for a while, there was some success with L-Dopa, and he started feeling better. And but he was weak at this point. But he was able to make this movie, and he was able to meet Johnny Depp. The two of them just hit it off, two Geminis, and became great friends. And I just love this picture of the three of them together. They just, it was an extraordinary swan song for my dad.